Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't you love it when you find a new podcast you really like? Well, let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm Mike Carruthers, the host, and in every episode, you'll hear fascinating information that will make your life better from top experts. Recently, we've done episodes on why you have the personality you do, the science of luck, and the psychology of a restaurant menu. You're going to like Something You Should Know. We have literally thousands of 5-star reviews. Look for Something You Should Know wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, hello there. We are about to head into an episode with Kate Leth. Yes, Kate Leth, the one, the only, sat down with Jenny and I to talk about a new man because, of course, she did. It's one of my favorite episodes of this podcast that we've ever recorded, so buckle up for that. But before we get there, of course, I have some announcements, some news. Let's begin with spooky news, shall we? Spooky news. Okay, here's the deal. The spooky news for today comes from Valdosta, Georgia. Valdosta, Georgia. I'm not sure how we pronounce it, but here's what happened. Construction workers discovered thousands of human teeth in the wall of a commercial building. Thousands of human teeth. That's a lot of human teeth. They were, according to this article in The Independent, disposed of after being retrieved. And I say, where? Where do you dispose of thousands of teeth? Just at the landfill? Where? And in this article, it also said they were disposed of after being retrieved, although a local historical society did offer to take them. So apparently a lot of interest abounds for teeth. Now, I want to bring a little bit more clarity to this spooky fucking news story, is that thousands of teeth were found in the wall of this building, and guess who owned the building? A dentist. A dentist owned the building in the year 1900, Dr. Clarence Whittington, and another dentist. I said it like that's how you say doctor for a dentist. Dr. Humans. In 1911 was a tenant in the building until at least 1930. Hang on to your fucking hats. The discovery is not the first of its kind. It's the third building in Georgia found to have teeth hidden in its structures, all of which were dental offices in the early 20th century. To which I say, what the fuck? It's pretty spooky. I mean, it doesn't even have to do with like ghosts or anything. It's just spooky to pull somebody's teeth and be like, oh, let me hang on to that. Let me put it in this empty wall. Like, how does it even, I don't know. That's your spooky news. I hope you enjoyed. Spooky news. Okay, now, something that is entirely not spooky is the fact that we have so much new merchandise and we have pretty massive sales happening through Sunday. So first of all, in the Buffering store, we have new palm hats to keep your little Scooby heads warm. And they say, wow, 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 across them. So Jenny's now infamous catchphrase, wow, 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 has made it to a palm hat, and you can now purchase it to warm your little ears, which is very exciting. We also have kid-sized t-shirts that say Smash the Demon Lizard Patriarchy. That beautiful Isabella Rotman design is now on Tiny Tees for your tiny humans, which is very exciting because we all know, start them young. What's more, in the Angel on Top store, there are 2 new products. A Cordelia t-shirt. You heard me right, a Cordelia t-shirt. It was designed using the lyrics from our beloved Cordelia jingle, and the artwork was done by Meg Lindsay, who runs a brilliant Instagram called Buffy Letters. Meg is amazing. The shirt is amazing. Angel on Top is amazing. You should go and check that out. And they also have a new enamel pin, also designed by Isabella Rotman, that says Big Demon Energy. Big Demon Energy. It's a really fun, very fun enamel pin. So through this Sunday, we have a big sale happening in both stores that will get you 20% off. It goes through Sunday, and you just use the code Cordelia because, I mean, we've all been waiting for the shirt, you know, we all love Cordelia. So if you use the code Cordelia in either one of our stores, that's Angel on Top's store, which you can find at angelontop.com, or Buffering store, which you can find at bufferingthevampireslayer.com, both of which you just click on shop. It'll take you to our store. You use that Cordelia code, you get 20% off, and you can put things from both of our stores in the same cart. So you can like go to one, get some stuff, go to the other, get some other stuff. It's very awesome. If you're a $10 Patreon supporter of either podcast, you're getting a code to receive 30% off through Sunday because you normally get 20% off. So of course we need to give you a little bit more. Okay. One more thing about shopping, because this is the season we're in. Listen, capitalism, woo! At least when capitalism is benefiting smashing the patriarchy, it kind of like undoes capitalism. Is that how it works? Cool. Listen, I have a new store. Me, Kristin, I have a new store. It's called Gay Stuff by Kristin, because that's basically my life. That's going to be the title of my memoir as well. There's a new color combination of my Queer and Forever Here t-shirt in the store. There's a new Queer and Forever Here enamel pin, a gorgeous safe space sticker designed by who else but our favorite artist, Isabella Rotman, who has designed 3 things, I think, in this rundown. And there's also some copies of my book, This is a Book for Parents of Gay Kids, which are signed by me. Everything in my store will be 15% off through Sunday, and you can find my store by going to KristinNoeline.com, KristinNoeline.com. Just click on shop there, and you can find the gay stuff. And guess what? Still on Hello Merch, so you can put gay stuff, angel stuff, buffering stuff, all in your cart. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be beautiful. Oh, wow. We did it. We talked about all of the things you should buy. However, we didn't talk about gifts, and you should know, Scoobies. Our patrons are amazing. You know this. Many of you are those amazing patrons. Last year, for the first time ever, our patrons organized a holiday gift exchange. It was like a secret Scooby. I'm calling it Secret Scoobies. I don't actually know if that's the official name. They're doing this for the 2nd year in a row now. And so you sign up and you get matched with somebody and they're your secret Scooby and you can see their little wish list and you buy each other gifts and you send them across the country or the world. You can opt in or out for international mailing. And it's really, really fun. Jenny and I both sign up for the secret Scooby swap. I'm just going to keep extending the name. So you also might be matched with one of us as your secret Scooby. It's really fun, and registrations are open through November 23rd. So all you need to do to be a part of that is become a patron at any level. Our $1 patrons up to our $25 patrons all have the same access to that. They're also doing a Jola Boca Flood book exchange. It translates to Yule Book Flood. It's an Icelandic tradition of giving your loved ones a book as a gift to read on Christmas Eve. And so that book exchange is also happening in the Patreon land. It's all so cool. You're all so wonderful. Oh, I love you very much. So does Jenny. We love you. Okay. Oh, there's so much I want to talk to you about, but I really need to make my way through the news because otherwise we're never going to get to the episode. London, listen up. We are coming for you. This is the last episode we're airing before we're going to get on a plane and fly to you to be a part of the Vampire Ball. That's November 30th to December 2nd, and the last day to get your tickets is November 23rd. For those of you who cannot afford to go to the ball, we get it. We're doing a meetup because we want to see your faces, all of your faces. So on November 28th at 5:30 p.m. your time, whatever time, GMT, I think is your time, 5:30 p.m. at a pub, called Tap on the Line. It's off the Kew Gardens stop. It's hard to talk about this because I'm not from the UK, but you get it. All the information is on our calendar, bufferingthevampireslayer.com. Just click on it. You can find the meetup information there. November 28th, London. Come and meet with us, whether or not you're going to the Vampire Ball. We would love to see you. Seattle, of course, we're coming to you January 19th and 20th for PodCon. And Seattle Scoobies who can't make it out to PodCon, we're hoping to do a meetup on Monday, the 21st of January in the early afternoon. So stay tuned for details on that, but put a little pin in it. Okay, we are getting so close to the end of my news, but isn't it all fun news? It's pretty fun. Before we get to the end, I have 2 more things. One, I want to give a special shout out to Lauren Klein, who we are so thankful for. Lauren does the sound engineering on all of our episodes and also does so much of the editing work here with us. She is the best. Go give her a follow on Instagram at Lauren Taylor Klein. That's LAURENTAYLORKLEIN. Tell her how much she means to you, because you know what? She means a lot to us. We know that many of you are heading into long weekends with family, and for some, that might be wonderful. For others, it might be really tough. So this is just a friendly reminder that all of us are out here, okay? There are so many of us out here who love you, who believe in you, and who are out here and will continue to be out here fighting the good fight and smashing the patriarchy to little tiny bits. Instead of leaving you by wishing you a happy Thanksgiving, and if you need the reasoning of why I might not want to end this by wishing you a happy Thanksgiving, you can listen to our episode on pangs. I would like to take this opportunity to instead wish one Jenny Owen Youngs a very happy birthday. The day of Thanksgiving is Jenny Owen Youngs' day of birth. So please go and shower her in birthday love over on her Twitter or her Instagram at Jenny Owen Youngs. Remind her also that not only do you wish her all of the birthday love in the world, but that for the next 25 days, she is the same age as me.
Welcome to Buffering the Vampire Slayer, a podcast where we are watching and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one at a time, spoiler-free. I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I am Kristin Russo, and this week we're talking about Season 4, Episode 12, A New Man. Stay tuned at the end of this podcast every week for an original song written by us, recapping the Buffy episode we're discussing. And if you haven't yet started listening to our Angel podcast, Angel on Top, hosted by Brittany Ashley and Laura Zach, what indeed are you doing?
What indeed? You can very easily be listening to that. We encourage it. A New Man was written by Jane Espenson and directed by Michael Gershman and originally aired on January 25th in the year of our Lord, 2000.
Yes, and this is the one where Ethan Rayne returns to town and transforms Giles into a demon. Spike is the only one who can help.
Yeah, this is the one where there's like lots and lots and lots of sexual tension between Giles and Ethan Rayne again. And so, of course, this is also the one where we are rejoined, reunited, and it feels so good once more with Kate Leth.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's me.
The last time we heard from you, Kate, you were tantalizing our ears with your Hush fashion watch.
I hope everyone enjoyed it.
I called it, I defined ASMR because I didn't understand exactly what it was as ear sex. Jenny told me maybe that was not appropriate.
mean, listen, I could go on, but ASMR is its own thing that I'm very passionate about. So I hope those of you who enjoyed it, and those of you who are like, what the hell is happening, looked it up and maybe learned something new.
Hell yeah. Wow, it's been 1,000 years since we were all last together in a room taping an episode.
What was the last episode we taped together in a room?
Was it Band Candy?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was Band Candy.
All the way back in season 3.
That was a long time ago.
It was
Kate.
a long time ago.
It was a very long time ago. We've missed you.
I've missed you too. I'm so glad to be back on another Giles-centric episode.
Yeah, it's really becoming your thing now.
I'm not opposed to it at all.
Also, not only is it a Giles and Ethan Rayne episode, but the Previously On jumps, literally the first shot in the Previously On is Willow and Tara's fingers intertwined.
Dude, it's so much.
I haven't been here. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Like, where are we going?
Have you ever intertwined your fingers like that with someone, with like a friend?
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Just your friends.
Yeah, just your pal from Wicca Group.
My gal pal from Wicca Group.
That you like to do spells with.
I will tell you that for several years in my youth, I wore my hair with that zigzag part.
My.
You know that I did.
Yeah, of course you
know
did.
That you did. Did you use like the back end of a comb to do the zigzag?
Yes.
Was that
Yes.
where-
Yeah, one of those like skinny combs.
Yes.
Yeah. I became an expert at it.
So good. You know what was like the ultimate 90s, although I guess we're in the early aughts now, but the ultimate 90s zigzag, I think, was when you do a zigzag part and you do what I call duty balls on either side, like the little bun ponytail.
Oh, yeah. I would do it with pigtails.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, same effect, general effect.
Mhm.
Yes.
For sure.
Or with like a very small like ringer tee and then like big jeans.
Jenga.
Like some
Yes.
kind of choker.
And a choker. Yeah, for sure.
Can you tell that everyone in this room like really knows what they're talking about with 90s fashion?
If there's one thing I know about, it's 90s fashion.
Just also for a visual for everyone, since you can't see Kate, Kate is
Oh my God.
outfitted in a Halloween orange
Velour?
velvet velour.
It's velour.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
I know the difference. It's stretchy, so it's velour. That's how you know.
Wow.
Easy tip.
You-
Non-stretchy is velvet, stretchy is velour.
So it's an orange velour dress.
Oh, yes.
That has moons, stars, bats, and I feel like I'm like not
Swirlies.
and swirlies.
Yeah, I think that's the extent of it.
When describing it, it doesn't. I don't feel like I did it.
It's a
justice.
Halloween dress, goddammit.
Halloween dress.
We can take a picture. And,
We're
and-
taking a
yeah.
picture.
We're definitely taking a picture.
Dangling candy corn earrings.
Yep.
Yes.
And black boots that are composed all of black cats with yellow eyes, and a couple of them are sticking their little pink tongues out.
And those were a birthday gift from my mom, who
Thanks,
is
Kate.
the
Thanks,
best.
Kate, Mom.
She also got me my skull backpack, my Betsy Johnson one that I have. She has the best taste.
She knows what you like.
There's a reason that I love fashion so much.
Yeah. So, shall we get into this episode? Or
Yes,
what?
yes. Here's the thing. Now that we have a new segment called "How Big Are Riley's Hands Compared to Buffy's Body Watch?"
It just began.
Okay, great, good.
Here we see Riley, who is just kind of like too big for a dorm twin bed.
Yeah.
He's
Also, why the fuck do they make dorm beds extra long? Do you remember that
I was so sure just now that you were going to say Riley, who is just two big planks of wood.
There's really one plank of wood.
way to describe it.
like a top plank and a bottom plank? Like
Just two side by side. Like, that's it.
stapled together.
Side by side.
For sturdiness.
Well, they're just making out in a dorm bed, a pastime which you may or may not have engaged in.
Yeah.
Did I? Yes, I did. Was
I
just
did not go to
checking.
a school that had dorm beds, but I did make out in some dorm beds.
Oh,
Some
hell
other-
yeah. You
other
found a
parties'
way.
dorm beds.
I traveled.
Well, Jenny, finish your thought, but I do have a question about making out in dorms.
Please.
Well, when I watched this, I thought, like, did you all have, it sounds like you didn't have a dorm bed experience of your own, but did you interface with systems to notify roommates to not come in? Because, like, I've heard talk of this.
Okay, so I was really lucky, and the only person, so I tried to make it sound like I was very salacious, but it was in one monogamous relationship. When I was in my first year of university, my boyfriend at the time went to a school that was like a 2-hour bus ride away, and so that was part of why we broke up, was because we were both broke and couldn't take the bus. But everyone in their residency, that's like a med school, their residence, whatever, their dorm house. Can you tell I didn't go to a real college?
You're like the place with
They're
kids.
the
where they put all
collegiate
the
hut.
students. So everyone had a roommate, except he didn't. The roommate he got assigned didn't show up for whatever reason.
Nice.
So for several months, he had a dorm room to himself, and he could push the two dorm beds together. And it was like
Oh, hell yeah.
luxury. But
Luxury.
then, right as we were like, well, maybe we should break up, the roommate appeared. He just started coming to school in like the last month of the semester.
Damn.
So we were like, let's take this as a sign.
Yeah.
Ah.
You can't afford bus tickets and you have a roommate now.
Yeah,
So moving
over.
on to greener pastures. Did you have systems, Jenny?
I think like everything kind of timed out in such a way that like when I did have a roommate, I either was seeing somebody who had their own like single or I like moved into the same apartment as the person I was dating and I was in the double and they were in the single. Like, oh, classic. Yeah, so I never had to like put a sock on a doorknob or anything. I did, however, once. Is this a story I should tell?
Yes,
Yes.
now it is.
Oh, no. I was engaged. Oh God, I wish that I could melt into the
Jenny,
wall.
I'm going to be just here for all the visual needs that you have. Jenny is leaned up against a wall. Her face is bright red, and she's trying to, you know that like gif of Homer Simpson when he like falls back into the bush?
into the shrubs.
That's what she's
Somehow seated upright and fetal position.
Yes.
Yeah, so whatever. I had a girlfriend in college. Lock me up, and we were having sex. Sue me, whatever. And we were having She was sometimes, in a close quarter living situation, people can hear things through the wall.
Yes.
And this person was a very expressive person. And on this particular the day, oh
I'm
god,
sorry, like the story is just like whatever. It's just you telling it is everything.
It's so
the day in question. On the day in question, the girl who was in the single next to hers, it was just so fun. It was ridiculous. I was like, wow, I wish this was not so loud. And she was like yelling up a storm, and the person in the next room just was like screaming at her to like shut up, and like threw a shoe against the wall.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Thank
That's
you
beautiful.
for telling us.
You're gonna
that.
take that out, right?
Never. I'm gonna make that its own episode.
I'm making that my ringtone. Just someone calls me, just starts with, well.
She was very expressive. Oh, so anyway,
Yeah.
Riley and Buffy
Mhm.
are making out in bed.
And Riley's hand is huge
Right.
on Sarah Michelle Gellar's tiny body. Once
She's
again,
so small.
Yeah.
she's so small. His hands are so big. His hands are like 2 planks of wood.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course Willow walks in. Luckily,
Mhm.
they're clothed and not being expressive. And it's like there's a bad thing. You gotta come now. Quick.
Help! Vampires don't breathe fire. Like, bitch, we know. You could just say no. It's not a vampire.
Honestly, it's the first time Willow has ever had an excuse that wasn't just looking blankly at and panic.
Gotta
So
go.
I'm-
Yeah, that's
She
true.
prepared for this.
She
one.
prepared a lie
She
per our
did.
requests.
Yes. And of course, then we learn it's Buffy's birthday.
Oh my god.
So which I say, where's Cordelia?
Ugh.
Like, what's a fucking surprise party for Buffy without Cordelia popping out from
Oh,
behind?
it
the
is
tree?
true.
Look, I have a lot of feelings about this season, but the just startling lack of Cordelia it's rough.
Yeah,
It's rough.
sad. We talked a little bit about how like Joss apparently felt like Spike was gonna be able to like fill the role of the person who was just rude, just outright rude.
I'm just like slowly shaking
Yeah.
my head, realizing that
Kate's
doesn't
like,
register
no.
on a podcast.
It's like,
Not
they-
the same.
no Cordelia substitutes.
No.
Okay, so right, it's Buffy's birthday, and then we go to the credits, and then and then we're at a party.
Poor Giles.
Giles?
Imagine
This is
being
so-
Giles at a college party.
It's just so
Full of like a bunch of kids we have never seen before
I
and will never see
know.
again.
Yeah, and we know
right?
that Willow, Xander, Buffy, and Anya are not friends with any of those people.
They
No.
try to explain it away when they're like, well, it's like a bunch of Riley's friends and like,
It's like, is
whatever. But like,
Does he
yeah,
have friends
I don't
that
think he has.
He
Yeah.
has two friends.
Graham and Forrest.
But they are also in the commandos.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying like he doesn't have civilian friends.
Oh no,
Right,
gosh, no.
Right. No one in either camp has any
I
civilian
think these people just
friends.
showed up for the free food, maybe.
Yeah, which would be
It's
more
college.
believable.
College, yes.
I've
you
done
hear
that.
free pizza and you
Mhm.
go to wherever. That's how people
Exactly.
used to like get you to join on-campus
Oh yeah,
clubs.
or go to their recital.
Right.
2 huge jugs of Carlo Rossi wine.
Oh wow. Sounds really specific, Jenny.
What's the most wine bang for your college buck?
Yo, my dad just told me this story about what is it?
Carlo Rossi?
Carlo Rossi wine that he had. So my dad's Italian and he has a bunch of Italian relatives, and apparently one of his aunts would buy a jug of that wine, dump half of it out, fill it with I think vodka or some other kind of some kind of giant alcohol, and then put it in the closet and leave it in the dark for like a month, and then would serve it to people as wine. But everybody would get so drunk because it was way more strong than wine.
What in the hell?
Just telling you.
Wow.
Anyway, Giles is at this party.
Don't try that at home.
Yeah,
Please.
Yeah.
don't. But I was impressed with like this former relative of mine being so
Crafty.
thrifty. Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, there's all this like, wow, this is my boyfriend Riley that you totally didn't know about. And then there's all this, Professor Walsh says this, Professor Walsh says that. You have to meet her. She's the smartest person I've ever met. How dare you?
I told you in Hush that Buffy had feelings for Professor Walsh. And I believe that it is confirmed in this episode.
She's got, I mean, there's, probably some mommy energy there.
Mommy with 2 M's and an I.
Yes,
of course.
obviously.
For the uninitiated MOMMI, you can go on over to Autostraddle and find out what a
They'll tell
mommy
you
is.
everything you need to know.
Yeah, if you need to. But yeah, so Giles begins his jealousy, in the most enjoyable jealousy. Giles v. Professor Walsh.
I will say that, from a Fashion Watch perspective, it's so underlined in this episode. And it's like this subtle thing, but Giles is wearing jeans, and Giles never wears jeans,
Yeah,
and it
what the
makes him
hell?
look even more like a weird, out of place uncle.
Yeah. He also pulled the tweed back out.
Yeah, but not. I don't know. He's not wearing collared shirts or the good stuff. I know that he's retiree. Don't say he's retired, but
He's between
Giles-
projects, please.
He's between projects at the moment. Oh, watching it is so painful.
Yeah, it really
So many painful
sucks.
points in this
He
episode.
tries to, at the start of the scene, he tries to be I remember this reminds me of that crazy prank I did, and no one's paying attention to him. Nobody even acknowledges that he's just as old as Professor Walsh, and so they shouldn't be making these comments.
Oh my god.
But it's so weird. Imagine being, one of Riley's friends, one of those people there that's Riley's close friend, and you're like, oh wow, everyone here is the same age as us, except for this guy who's Buffy's
Who are you
former
again?
librarian. Why is he here?
Which, it's parents don't go to college parties.
No, they
How did
don't.
this happen?
Very strange.
Oh,
I feel like
Giles.
Giles should have had the presence of mind maybe to not go to this party.
But maybe he's lonely.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
he didn't know it was going to be an extended group of people.
That's
Maybe
true.
he thought it was
Yeah.
going to be a Scooby
Intimate.
shindig.
Yeah, the last time they threw Buffy a surprise party, there were 5 people.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Also, not to corral you into fashion, you don't have to go there, but I did write down that Xander is in a sweater vest and that we meet. Maybe we've seen Riley in a turtleneck, but it just feels very present to me. In this
It
scene.
is. Yeah. Look, there's not a lot to say about Riley in terms of Fashion Watch. I feel like I acknowledged Xander for the first time recently and was like, oh, that was a sort of nice shirt he was wearing. That's the most I can do. Riley he's just bread. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not even toast.
It's
hard.
cardboard, white bread. Yes.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. But yeah, the turtleneck is really something.
Sorry, Jenny. Was that hard for you hearing 2
I'm
people in
fine.
the same room?
I've spent my whole life hearing people talk trash about Riley, and
Look, I've dated Riley's. It's fine. He's not the worst. And there are some moments where I genuinely feel for him. I think it's just he's so associated with a lot of things in this season that I do not love. Not in terms of being offended by that. They're just boring.
Right.
And
yep.
and he's not some of the other paramours of Buffy that are a lot more interesting.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
Totally. So, before we leave the party, I just want to say I think it's really cute that Xander is teaching Anya how to have tact.
Yeah.
That
my
they have
God.
this little practice banter. Where he's remember what we talked about? And she's like, right. So
please continue with your story.
Right. And looks at him for approval. So Spike is moving out.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get a crypt or dank hole somewhere. He's very
Yeah.
excited about it. Anya, once again, trying to be a human.
Adapt
Yeah.
and be a person.
To the traditions.
Trying to give Spike a lamp.
I love Anya so much. I mean, she's one of my favorite characters of the whole series, and it's so exciting. It is one of the definite up points of this season is more Anya.
Yes.
Always more Anya
Yes.
is always a good thing.
Truly.
And I love this conversation because it's so practical when she's like, but you're not going to have running water and electricity and any of the things that you have all of the perks you've come to know in
Right.
Xander's basement. And he's like, that's a really good point.
Oh,
and
now
I
you,
love
have a
this
moment.
conversation. Yeah, it's so fun.
I enjoy, like, because these characters, you know, Spike is just sort of like newly in the gang, and Anya is still fairly new to the gang. And I love the moments like these because we see their, like, little relationship starting to grow. Like, who is Anya to Spike? Who is Spike to Anya?
Yeah.
Wow.
Where will it go, you know? Anyway, then we go to fucking Walsh's office
Oh boy.
and get a great wordplay from Buffy.
Oh, it was the first thing I wrote down because I have used it. I don't remember what comic I put it in, but I definitely
really?
wrote that into a comic somewhere, the "You are myth taken." It is one of my favorite puns in the history of time. And it obviously, Jane Espenson, I mean, I, having become a writer of TV only in the last couple of years, I have fallen completely in love with Jane Espenson and gone back and rewatched her episodes and been like, oh my God, she's so good. She's so good.
She is. Yeah, you have a more inside baseball knowledge of how good she is.
She's
but
so good.
She's real good.
Yeah. Her batting average is very, I don't know, sports. That analogy died on the table, but I think she's very good. And anyway, yes, that is one of my favorite lines.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar does a great delivery.
It's
of
so
these,
cute.
right? It's like, because you
It's
can
so
blow
cute.
that. You could blow
yeah.
that delivery big time. I would
Yes.
blow it. And she does not. She delivers it very well, makes us all laugh. And then, of course, we sort of like, oh, what's the groan?
Then we find out that Riley has killed 17 whole demons.
Oh boy.
11 vampires and 6 demons for old Riley.
How many
Riley.
hostels for you, Buffy? I'm like, oh.
Awkward.
Get ready to get embarrassed.
Yeah. And that puts us like into this, which I find very enjoyable.
Mhm.
Of course, they're like paralleling the how many people have you slept with, how many people have you slept with conversation, which many of us have in the start of a new relationship. And this is, you know, Buffy's just like off the charts.
Yeah.
And Riley is feeling a little self-conscious.
As he, well, no, I'm not going to say as he should. I have a lot of feelings about Riley's feelings towards Buffy's power, but
Yeah,
we'll talk about it more, and it definitely comes up in this episode.
It really does. I have a jingle at the ready for Riley in this episode with related to this topic. But you know where we should go right now, Kate, is that I like squealed for you and me and all of us. But Giles has a fucking feather duster in his teeth.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a moment.
Right? It is just so nonchalant.
It's just so chill, but like, you know, just dusting his like leather-bound volumes. What's up? And I look, this scene is so funny to me because it's just like, it's forced in this weird way. This episode is, I mean, I love Jane.
Right.
Die for Jane. It's a strangely uneven episode, and there are a lot of moments where things are like, this was scripted. This doesn't feel very natural. Right. And this moment specifically where he's like, oh, I'm just going to be dusting my volumes, this thing no one's ever seen me do before. And then be like, wait a minute, I should check this book. Wait a minute, this day is about to happen on this specific page. It's like, what made you think of that, my dude?
Yeah.
Did you see the volume and you were like, oh, I remember 6 years ago when it said this prophecy was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, what? Right.
It's very funny to me.
I think the scene was, they probably had like a really great way, like Jane probably had this really great way of getting there, but then they were like, but we could have Giles dust his books and then put a feather duster in his teeth.
Yeah, just specifically for Kate Leth.
Yeah. Yes. Also, practicality of a feather duster, anyone? Like, it just doesn't seem like it would be effective to me.
I mean, I don't know if this was it was a pre-Swiffer era.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have one of those that has like the long handle on it to get
the Swiffer
thing.
Handle.
Yeah, to get the tops of bookshelves and
I just
such.
feel like a feather would just move shit around.
I don't know.
But maybe
it's really unclear.
Maybe we have some feather experts listening who
probably
know a thing or two.
Almost
certainly.
So
then we like see Riley and Buffy talking, and he's all like, you have a lot of experience. And then he's like, I'm not even sure that I could take you.
Ugh.
And then Buffy is like, depends on your meaning.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, these two really need to do it.
Yeah, they need to just like
They
work some
need to
stuff
stop
out
talking
real quick.
about it and do it. But yeah, this also begins, I think, what you were referencing just a moment ago, Kate, of Riley just being like, I mean, you know, like, you seem really tough. Like, I mean, I might not even be able to fight you. Like, yeah, dude, you can.
You definitely can. She's definitely the chosen one. Like, I'm sure you lift, but she is. I do love when he says, I like suddenly find myself having to discover the plural of apocalypse or whatever it is that he says. And it's like, he does, like, you know, to jump around, but like he does eventually get it and get to it seems, at least in this episode. But boy, does he struggle. You know why he struggles, everyone? It's because of the patriarchy.
Well, speaking of struggling,
yes,
it is really rough to watch Giles bust all up into Professor Walsh's room with the Greek myth references, being like, I've heard you were smart.
This is one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the whole show.
Yeah.
When this episode started and I knew it was coming, I had an internal cringe that just gradually built until he entered her office, and I was like, oh God, I am going to have to watch this again. I've seen it maybe 10 times, and it is just as painful every time because he is not doing well in this one.
And, like, I am definitely not a major fan of Professor Walsh. But
I get where she's coming from.
Yeah. She's like, my man, step off. Yeah. And she's very, like, you know, she's really icing him. And I was, like, kind of, I mean,
the thing is, if you take it as, like, an isolated, if you remove all context, if you are Professor Walsh and some dude who's, like, your age comes into your office and is like, I'm looking for Buffy. We're friends.
Yeah. I would be very icy to him, too.
Yeah. He's like this guy that used to come into Borders Books and Music when I worked there, who was like, when I was in college, this like guy who was like maybe like 50, and he was all like, you're an old soul, and like brought me classical records to listen to. Like, that is the vibe of this exchange.
Yeah.
It doesn't look great.
No.
No, and in that moment, it's like, oh, she's being protective of Buffy. I get it, but she doesn't know the context.
Right.
I mean, because he at this point doesn't know about what her deal is. Right. He doesn't know that she knows Buffy's a Slayer. Because if he'd come in and been like, oh, I was her watcher, then she would have been like, oh, chill, I get it.
Right. I mean,
also, why are you still hanging around, though?
Yeah. But of course, he's
get a
like,
job.
I'm her friend and her former high school librarian.
Yeah, and I'm just still here.
But also, Walsh is like, she's self-reliant and independent, not always a good thing.
Yeah, Walsh is Walsh is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, like, I don't. She's
and
nuts,
then she busts out the absence of a male role model.
Right to his face. Like,
clearly lacks a strong father figure. How dare you, madam?
Do you think that she, like, are we sure she doesn't know?
Like, it feels intentional by the end, right?
It's so intense. And he's only been in the room like a minute. Like, it just does seem very intense for her not to know anything. But
I mean, is she saying that in the context of, like, I don't know who you are, but if, like, someone like this is in Buffy's life, maybe it's because she has a lack of a strong male role model or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's true.
Could be, but it's also just, like, cold as ice.
Yes.
Cold as ice. And, very painful to watch.
Whew.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. And if you have sensitive skin, you're going to want to hear about their scientifically proven topical supplements. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are safe for sensitive skin. It's just one of the reasons they've earned the skin-safe seal of approval.
They've also earned the Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristin Russo seal of approval, if I do say so myself, Jenny.
I couldn't agree more. I've been using OneSkin for a few months, and after a few weeks, I remember it like it was yesterday. I texted Kristin, and I was like, maybe she's born with it. I looked in the mirror that morning and was like, oh, things are happening, and I am happy.
I have used a million billion skin products, and I did not think that I was going to switch off of the skin like lotion, the moisturizer that I used and the under eye cream that I use, because I have used them for a little while and I really like them. And I've switched completely, which is a pretty big deal. OneSkin is the world's first Skin Longevity Company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and if you can, please tell them that we sent you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors, including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, I'm Simon Jack.
And I'm Sing Sing.
And together we host Good Bad Billionaire, the podcast exploring the minds, the motives, and the money of some of the world's richest individuals.
Every episode, we pick a billionaire and we find out how they made their money.
And then we judge them. Are they good, bad, or just another billionaire?
Good Bad Billionaire from the BBC World Service.
Listen now wherever you get your BBC podcasts.
So, of course, then we go to the cemetery. And because Giles is just like, I can't fucking find. This is like the first time that no one can find a person. Like, without cell phones, it's amazing how much they find each other. He hasn't found Buffy. And they go to the, mausoleum, third mausoleum from the right today. And they go in there and, there's no risen anything. And they're like, great.
I love how it's always the same mausoleum.
Right?
It's like so easy to tell that it's the same one. Because it's the same place where they're like fighting the demons when Willow has her will done. It's like the same mausoleum.
Totally.
Very clearly. I wondered if do they move an urn around?
Right. Maybe. Sometimes there's like a tomb.
Yeah.
And this time there wasn't a tomb. But we've been in this mausoleum before. And then, of course, it's revealed that Riley is one of the army dudes, and fucking no one told Giles.
So rough. It's a bad day for Giles.
Oof. Truly, it just gets worse.
It just gets
worse.
Oh,
my God.
It gets
Tomorrow
a little
gets
better
worse.
before it gets worse.
Yeah.
True. But right, and so, he's like, Spike knew? Like, that's like the final straw.
Oh
for
my
him.
God. And also he finds out Professor Walsh is in charge of the initiative.
And he says, that fishwife?
Yes. He does.
What an insult.
Which prompted me to, I didn't know where that came from, so I looked it up. Does everybody know?
I don't.
So a fishwife is, like, it's defined as a coarse-mannered woman who is prone to shouting. Which is not accurate, because Walsh didn't shout at all.
She doesn't.
FYI. But I looked a little bit further, and a fishwife, all other terms for fishwife are fish fag or fish lass.
Oh.
Sorry, everyone, but,
Rough.
It's a woman who sells fish. In this context, the word wife means woman rather than a married woman, and the usage stems from Old English. It's similar to the German, also meaning woman. Anyway, often the wives and daughters of fishermen, fishwives, were notoriously loud and foul-mouthed. To swear like a fishwife is like a phrase that people would use. One reason for their outspokenness is that their wares were highly perishable and so lost value if not sold quickly.
Honestly, it sounds like goals.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting that
entrepreneurs, they're outspoken.
Yeah. And I copied that little segment because, like, by the time I got to the end, I was like, this is so typical. Like, here are these women that have to, like, sell these fish. And so they're being loud because they have to sell like, there's a purpose for it. But the context of that is, like, totally washed away. And they're just like, these loud women being loud and rowdy. Just so typical. We already played the jingle, but you get it. You get it.
I'm glad to know.
Anyway, thank you for letting me go on that fishwife detour when we all know what's about to happen.
Well, Giles sends Xander and Willow home. Then Giles is like, ugh, what am I doing? And he leaves, and he's like, nothing's going to happen. And then from the shadows
Dun, dun,
emerges
dun.
a reedy figure with an accent who's all like, actually, things are about to get very interesting. Here's my dark villain monologue. Ma, ma, ma. And then Giles comes back and is like, is somebody in here?
And he goes, oh, bugger, I thought you'd gone. Which is one of my favorite deliveries. This episode has a lot of really good lines, but that little moment is so good.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Ethan Rayne keeping the silk shirt industry alive.
Oh,
my
Lord.
God. Oh, I
Mhm.
can't wait to get to a later silk shirt event.
Oh, yes.
Ethan, okay, the way that Giles says Ethan Rayne, I wrote, listen, I don't know why I got so dramatic in my notes, but I wrote, Ethan Rayne speaketh Giles as a long lost love would.
Yeah, that's normal. That's a normal thing to say. About as normal as fishwife.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I had been reading about fishwives right before I wrote that note.
Then they begin to wrestle.
Yes, but before they begin, Giles says, you have no idea how much threshing you is going to improve my day.
Right.
To which I raise my eyebrows at a loud volume.
Heavens.
So then they go to the pub
Oh, yeah.
and they get shit-faced.
I love this. Anthony Stewart Head plays a good drunk.
Yeah.
It's something I always notice in shows is, can an actor actually play drunk convincingly? Because when someone doesn't, it's so
Bad.
staggeringly obvious that they're not staggering.
Right.
And his is great.
Yeah.
So is Ethan's, because it's like he's keeping it together, but he's definitely a little loose.
They're having so much fun.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I love this pub, this bar that we've never seen.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of places lately that are very new to the Sunnydale universe.
It's exciting to move off of just the espresso pump.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Find out where the adults go.
Yeah. No, it's great.
So Rayne, Ethan Rayne is like, there's this 314 situation, and I'm like, I want to tell you about it.
That mean?
Yeah, what is it? What could it be?
It's gonna be a letdown.
She's got a little ASMR right there. And there's just some lines in this scene, we're just a couple of old mystics, which
Right.
Oh
I
my
love.
God. Get a room.
And then they get drunk and
Giles is like, I'm twice the man she is.
Wait, okay, later on in this same scene, when we come back and they're actually really drunk, Ethan's like, you're very attractive.
Right?
And it seems like he's talking to Giles 100%.
Giles thinks he's talking to him. He's like, what? He's not confused. You know what I mean? It's a thing. It's a moment.
It's such a thing between the two of them. The way Ethan Rayne says Ripper is it's its own fan fiction prompt. It's all you need.
Oh my God. Also later, at the end of the scene, I think Ethan is looking right into Giles's eyes, and he's like, we're a couple of sorcerers. The night is still our time.
Yes!
Meaningful eye contact.
The night is still our time
To
for
fuck!
magic, is what he says.
Magic fucking.
Yeah.
To magic. And then they do shots on top of the 2 beers they both have. And I was watching it and I was like, you guys need to stop. You
Slow
had too
down,
much.
gentlemen.
There's an impending apocalypse, as usual.
Get some water.
Also, Giles does give a nod to the fact that he's an unemployed librarian with a penchant for getting knocked on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was nice.
Which
That
is
he was
not wrong.
self-aware of his role.
But meanwhile, Buffy has redonned the white fuzzy sweater that she put on to go into the sewers in I Will Remember You.
Oh.
She loves wearing it in the sewers. She loves wearing it to spar. And she also has a farm headscarf thing going on.
Yeah, I knew we were coming back to this scene because I wrote Buffy's terrible kerchief. Why?
Why?
I also wore that kerchief
Yeah.
at the same time as I had the zigzag
Of
part
course,
in my
of
hair.
course.
There's so many things that I was like, I want to look like Buffy, even though I'm pretty sure this is a bad look.
Right.
But I distinctly remember having one that's it's like a headband with a kerchief attached to it. So it's not even a real kerchief.
Right.
Yeah, it's rough.
I think Jenny and I fell in the real kerchief. Or did you never wear a kerchief?
A kerchief.
A bandana.
I mean, if you roll it up and
Put it around your head.
Hell yeah, like a headband.
Yeah.
Like not like your
I
kind of
still do
headband.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
No, not like a lady headband.
Wow,
a lady
Shay.
headband goes under the back of your hair. And
Yeah, you wear a Rambo headband.
Like,
yes,
like
exactly.
Naruto.
Menudo? Did you say Menudo?
No, I said Naruto, which was my dorky anime reference. They have the headbands that
I was like,
Anyway,
did
it's fine.
Menudo wear bandana headbands?
the mashup we never knew we needed.
Oh,
So
anyhow.
like they're
Time
fighting.
to fight.
Yeah,
Sexually.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
everybody loves to do a little foreplay.
Listen, there's
sparring.
tension in every episode if you look for it. But this episode,
Mhm.
it's got its fair share.
It does. A lot of fighting when there should be fucking.
Yeah,
you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's because it's fine. Yeah, this part is. Listen, I did karate as a kid
Oh.
because I was a kid in the '90s,
Yeah.
and that's what you do.
Sure, yep.
And I definitely remember exchanges like this of dudes being like, "Oh, you." And I mean, I was 10, so the tension was not there, but it was this similar thread of like, "Oh, I'm sure that like for a girl, you're fairly strong. You know, give me all you've got." And then the like, "Oh God, did you break my rib?
Yeah.
Because we're children and you kicked me in the chest."
Good. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and Riley just fucking flies across the room.
Flies
Does.
across
It's
the
so
room.
good.
It is.
She
I'm
does it
going
very
to gift
good.
the shit out of that moment for all of us.
Mhm.
Okay, so now can I get to the witches or what?
Yes. Because this is the first time I officially get to talk about them with you.
Yes, it is. And so in Hush, Jenny and I talked about how it was really groundbreaking that for the first time everyone knew what lesbian sex was, that moving a vending machine.
Yeah.
With your minds.
Yeah. And what I am just amazed at is that not only did they see that, but they knew that the next level of lesbian sex was removing every petal from a rose.
I can't
With
just
your
like
mind.
how obvious it is so out of control. And I was thinking back to the episode where Riley's hanging the Lesbian Alliance banner.
Hell yeah.
And it's like, oh, they knew like from the start of the season they were laying the groundwork of like, hey, we're aware of the word lesbian now. We just heard about it and we are getting into
We
it.
heard that they do witchcraft.
Hell.
Yeah. So we just have to make sure that like we're in tune and probably
Right.
perfectly in sync. And
Let's
Tara's
just
like,
hold hands again.
cool.
What could this
Levitate
be?
rose.
What could this be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Symbolizing. I don't know.
So hard to
I
tell.
don't really think of anything.
We should ask somebody queer. They would probably know.
Yeah.
It's too bad we don't know anyone. Yeah, this is wild. Like if I was interested, okay, listen, I know the queer tradition of like you're on a date, you've already moved in with someone, you're making out, and you're still like, do they like me?
Yeah.
Are they interested in me? I can't tell.
Totally.
But I think I would have a hard time not being convinced by, hey, we're going to do this spell where we have to levitate a rose and like pluck its petals off. And while we hold hands and like synchronize our magic, I'd be like, I think she might be into me.
Yeah.
Right? And this is like, so Ethan Rayne's magic, I guess, gets in the way of this or whatever.
Yes.
Typical. A man's energy getting in the way of sweet sapphic love. You know
Although
what I
I
mean?
will say I don't really understand how him giving a potion to Giles interfered with like a rose floating across town. I
Oh,
don't-
wait.
Right.
Ha! I did not understand that there was interference coming from Ethan Rayne.
Yeah, that's what's implied. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
they're like, there must be some magical. It's not, I don't know if it's the way that they say it is not necessarily like the potion that he's giving him,
Yeah.
but just that he's like in town and he's like a dark magic.
Yeah, maybe. Or the process. I just felt like it would have to be something strong. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It's fine.
The rose flies across the room.
It does.
Tara says the petals are off. Like,
Yeah.
and I want to say, like, because we don't know Tara very well. Like,
No.
we just met her. She's, she has a stutter. She's not sure of herself in a lot of ways.
She's perfect.
She's perfect. Do you have a lot of Tara feelings?
Oh my
Jane?
God.
Okay.
I'm holding back.
Okay.
I'm holding back. Listen, it's.
But Tara in this moment where she makes this joke, like, well, the
Mhm.
fucking petals are off, is
Yeah.
like it's the first like moment I think of like true confidence that I have seen from her.
Yeah.
And I'm like very here for it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
It's
Tara,
really good.
make that joke.
Mhm.
So then we're at Giles's house, and
Oh my God. I've had this hangover. Have you had this hangover?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Where you break the banister right off.
Oh, yeah, and the phone crumbles in your hand, and you look in the mirror, and you're like, what is that?
And he's like, Ethan. My question is, how do his pants fit? Why do his pants
I think it's a Hulk sort of science magic.
Oh,
Some
the pants
metaphysics
stretched
here?
with him while
Yeah.
he transformed overnight.
It's just specifically pants. Like, that's the science of it.
right. It's just
Pants will stay fitting no
Everything
matter
right.
what you
rips
transform
off.
into. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God you're here.
I know. It's like, if you didn't have me, what would you do?
Oh, so we cut to Giles is a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's kind of the scene summary, right? Anyone have
Yeah.
any points to add?
well, after he rips his shirt, he takes a page out of Spike's book, the old wear a blanket around town
Right.
trick.
I think people in Sunnydale are just so used to seeing
Yeah,
demonic
various
creatures
demons,
and or blanket wearing citizens
But they're just
strewn
like,
about.
call 911?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Seems pretty normal.
Also, this is like a great demon design for Giles.
It's
think.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
it's very Giles, especially with the blanket. Like
Yeah.
that the blanket was added, I feel like, is what takes it to just like, yeah, there's Giles as a demon for sure. It's
Yeah.
exactly what he would look like as a demon.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, then we go to the cafeteria. Willow is wearing a famous sweater. I
Oh
think.
my god.
Wait, what kind of sweater is it? What is it? Describe, paint me a picture with your words.
Okay, I can.
Yes.
It is. So listen, I'm not entirely sure because I wasn't there when it was made. I think it's crocheted. It's either crocheted or knit because it's like loose knit because you can see there's spaces in between
Yeah.
the pieces of. I'm pretty sure it's wool. Maybe it might be synthetic. Listen, it's got stars on either of the boobs.
Oh, yeah.
That are different colors. The one on the right side has some threads coming out, or her left, my right, and it has like a rainbow neckline. It's like lavendery blue, and there's a rainbow underneath the two stars on the boobs. This sweater is
Christ.
burnt into my memory because it is also when she lies about where she was last night.
I was in the chem lab. Ah!
By myself, definitely not doing any rose magic.
Right? That's the gayest shit has gotten is her lying
Her
about
lying.
where
Yeah,
she was.
that was the moment where I was like, "Oh, this is happening."
Yeah. Why are you lying, Willow? Why are you lying? And then, they have this whole conversation about Riley. Who cares about that when we have
whatever.
lesbian witches, really? But yeah, Buffy's sort of like, I was not giving it my all, and I still wasn't
Oh my
giving
god,
it my all.
yeah. She was holding back a little still, even though she kicked him across the goddamn
Yeah.
room.
But Willow's like, yeah, you can't pretend you're less than who you are.
I wrote that down. I said, you can't walk around pretending to be less than you are is a very good lesson to teach girls.
Yeah, hell
Just teach
yeah.
anyone, but like especially, I don't know. I relate a lot to so many parts of this conflict between Buffy and Riley, where she's like playing down the fact that she's like a superhero, and not to be like, oh, I'm amazing, but I've definitely, I feel like so many people have been in relationships where it's like you play down your success or your ambition or your accomplishments because you don't want to.
Totally. And I mean, as women specifically, it's like
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're taught
Yeah,
to do.
when you're dating guys, especially guys who have like made you understand that they're a little bit insecure, and it's rough. It's so rough, and I think this is one of those analogies that is done really well in the show. Is like, yeah, he's, whether he wants to admit it or not, whether he's being outright like whiny and all toxic masculinity about it, which he's not really.
No, yeah, he mostly holds it together.
I do really like that when she kicks him across the room and she's like, is anything hurt? He doesn't say like, oh, my pride, which is the obvious thing to say. But he's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's internal. He's figuring it out. So anyway, that's my little rant.
Yeah.
But I do like that lesson.
Yeah, I do too. I think that I have moments with Riley in this episode for sure, but overall,
yeah,
he's trying. He is trying to deal with what he's internalized.
Yeah.
And to unpack that.
He's aware that how he's reacting is not perfect.
Yes.
And he's trying to deal with it. And I'll give him some credit for that.
Also, no matter who's doing it, getting kicked across the room is a traumatic event.
It's very painful.
Yeah.
So he has a lot to sort through aside from just what we already just talked about.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, Giles' first stop in his new demonic state. Where does he go? Xander's house, perhaps because he's looking for a fruit punch from Xander's mom? Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe he's like, wait till Mrs. Harris gets a load of my new horns.
Oh my God.
But we learned very quickly that, of course, he's not speaking English, although he's perceiving himself to be speaking English.
Yeah,
he
love
can't
that.
communicate
I love
with him.
that.
Yeah, such a
Yeah.
great little tool.
Because I mean, the first time I watched this episode, well, the second time, I guess, but the first time I watched it for this, I totally forgot that he wasn't speaking in
It's a really
his
great,
language.
yeah, it's a really great detail.
Yeah. So they all get to Giles's house.
And they're like,
course.
oh, a huge, strong demon ripped this place apart, which is accurate.
Yeah. Anya thinks that the demon is eating Giles because his shirt is ripped in half.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, Spike becoming handier and handier with each passing episode.
Hell yeah.
Can speak Fioral.
Yeah.
So knows it's Giles.
I would like to nominate this moment for a distant second. Well, third, because we also have the witches. Third sexual tension moment between Fioral, Giles, and Spike.
Nice.
Because
Yep,
it
it's on the
just
list.
specifically for the first moment when Spike's like, Giles? And he's got the cigarette and he's like leaned up against the mausoleum and he's
yeah.
like, is that you? Like, oh, I love what you've done with yourself.
Yeah, he is sort of like, I always knew you had it in you.
Yeah,
you know?
he's very intrigued.
Yeah. All right. Is it on the list? Sexual Tension Award record keeper?
Yeah,
Jenny?
it was already on the list.
Okay,
We were on the
great.
same page very much.
Good, good.
Also, Spike takes one drag of that cigarette and then throws it away. In this economy, after he's moving out, he's about to ask Giles for money, but he's just one drag and he's done.
I just
Yeah.
still wonder what vampires get out of smoking cigarettes.
He
but
looks cool.
He looks cool.
Yeah, and even with that breath-
Also, sorry, just to be very clear, you don't actually look cool when you're smoking.
I mean, Spike does, but
Yeah.
Spike does, but you don't, so stop that. You're not a vampire.
Listen, as a former smoker, it's like, look, it looks cool, but it's terrible for you.
it's
Don't
terrible
do it.
for you. But like also as a former smoker as well, it's not necessarily just about inhaling the nicotine. Like it
Yeah.
really, the habit of smoking the cigarette is a habit in and of itself.
I'm sorry for everyone that's being super triggered
I
by
know,
this moment.
shit.
Don't smoke.
And it's awful and bad and your body
Okay,
will rot.
think about how the person who's going to make out with you is going to have to deal with your ashtray mouth.
Yeah.
Is that de-incentivizing?
Yeah.
I'm sure Giles was thinking about that at that very moment.
I know. Giles was like, well, I would make out with you, Spike. Except
Yeah.
For,
Ugh.
Oh, Giles says to, of course, Spike, who's now getting paid for his efforts.
Which I think is so great.
Yeah.
The best.
I
also,
love the, like-
$100, you're going to have to do a lot better.
$200. All right. And Spike's like genuinely surprised. Like, he went for it? It's so good.
Well, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
It's true.
So true.
But he says, Rayne did this. And then he says, like, and he needs a good trails off and is like being killed. And I just want to say that like spanking could have been filled in there.
Oh, wow, a spanking from daddy.
Any way that I
He
can
has
get-
to be careful with all that Fioral strength.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, God. Danger. I hope they have a safe word.
I love that it's you doing this first before me. This has never happened. It's amazing.
Yes, things have changed in your absence.
Inspired us,
Oh,
Kate.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad. I had someone come up to me at a show and they were like, "Oh, I love your segments on buffering, blah, blah, blah. I'm so glad that you're there to represent all the kinky people who listen to it." Because they were like, "There's this episode where like Kristin and Jenny are like, oh, this thing that happened is weird. It made me uncomfortable." And then you come on Fashion Watch and you're like, "I'm so horny for this." I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad. Representation is so important."
You're helping us all. Okay? I think you're the reason that we said daddy in the first
I
place.
know.
And now
I'm
we can't
so
stop.
honored.
Yeah, just loosened us up a bit.
Damn.
So
Great.
So,
So, yes.
Some of us more than others. So then we go to Giles, and they're in research mode.
Oh, and Buffy's like, I keep thinking, like, we should ask Giles what to do,
he's
which is so
not
nice because, like, we
here.
spent the majority of the episode up to this point seeing Giles feel, like, useless and unvalued.
Right,
Yeah.
right. If only he was here to hear himself being valued, that would be helpful.
Is there anything better than Spike driving Giles around and
No.
Giles being like, if you can't find third gear, don't try for third gear?
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good.
And I love the later did the demon steal Giles's car? It's like, why? And Anya going, why would he steal that car?
Yes, amazing.
The Citron. Actually, Spike says it, and he says, or somebody says it in this episode, and they say Citron. I
Oh,
think.
really?
Do they? Oh,
think so.
it's a bad car.
Anyway, it's like front and center. This is the main plot point in this episode. R.I.P. that car.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens to it, but it didn't look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the odd couple is back at it again.
Yes.
In the fucking car. And of course, this is like one of my favorite moments in this whole episode is when Giles is like, I don't want to fucking do the demony things. I don't want to fucking. And then he sees Walsh.
He's like, stop the car.
That movie does this
With his like hands over his head. Oh my god, he looks like
So
fucking
good.
he looks like Mrs. Coach in the credits for Friday Night Lights.
Oh. Mrs. Coach. Tammy Taylor.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, so pretty hilarious. Walsh is terrified, and then fucking Riley's like, Professor Walsh was attacked by a demon, and I'm like, liar! She was not. A demon like raised
Such
his
a
arms.
drama
at her.
queen.
They find out that Silver can kill the demon. You know, there's like all this talk about the car. We already went over all that. Another new bar is in this episode because Spike is like flirting with this woman.
No, that's the same bar. He's back getting information about.
Is
and
that
she
the waitress
reveals
that he was hitting on?
Yeah,
Yes.
she
Hey,
says like, "Oh, as
everybody.
soon as I saw that he was staying at that like Fleabag motel, that Fleabag motel that has great sinks if you need to wash the blood out of your undershirt or
Jenny-
tank top that you happen to wear while you were accidentally killing a man."
Pour one out for that moment.
My note about the motel, which you basically have just done with your exclamation, is like all of the forbidden gay love happens here.
Hell yeah!
At the fucking motel.
At the Sunnydale Forbidden Gay Love
Sunnydale
Inn.
Motor Inn that dare not speak
You
its
know?
name.
Like somebody make me fanfic that's just called the Sunnydale Motor Inn, and it's just all the forbidden gay love pairings
That's
that
so
happen in
beautiful.
there.
Yeah.
Riley has a master key to the whole town.
I know.
What the
Pretty
fuck is
weird.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that about?
That's just that just
Also,
doesn't
why
make
didn't he
sense.
bring it up when they were approaching the door? Whatever,
Right?
it's fine.
Well, she probably just kicked it in real
Yeah.
fast because she's got no time for bullshit. She's trying to save Giles. She loves him. Dad!
Also, Ethan Rayne just uses his fucking MasterCard like at the magic
I
shop.
know.
He's just like
Didn't even like pay cash, not doing anything to cover his paper trail. Feels to me like somebody likes getting caught.
and possibly spanked.
Feels like somebody might be a brat.
God, you know, if anybody came to this episode knowing you were guesting with us with expectations, I believe they have been fulfilled.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
he misbehaves.
And he needs to be like punished.
Mhm.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
You know who
Bad,
needs to
you
actually
know
be
what a
punished?
bad boy. Weren't we just talking about bad boys recently?
You're gonna fall off of your chair.
Losing it. I'm sorry. What are we talking about?
I was just gonna. I didn't mean to take us off of this beautiful path we're on, but I did want to just highlight this moment before we leave this scene between Buffy and Riley.
The power struggle.
Yeah, he's like, Buffy, I can't take you with me.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
I'm just gonna fucking play the sound clip.
Get in the car. They're ready to go.
Buffy, earlier when I talked to Professor Walsh, she gave me very specific orders.
Yeah?
She said when we located the demon, I'm not supposed to bring you along.
Oh.
What are you doing?
I'm going to the car.
Buffy, I can't take you with me.
You're not taking me with you. I am going and I am letting you come along.
Buffy, it's not really your call. This is a military operation now.
Then call out the troops. Because nothing less than that is going to stop me.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
So embarrassing
I'm sorry, but I have a jingle that I would like to play in conjunction with this scene.
Riley, you are kind of like cardboard. Your mansplaining's best to be ignored. No one cares you're OTA, so please go away.
Whoa!
on,
Listen, it's actually Riley has been trained and maybe even brainwashed to follow orders. He's part of a military unit that works best if everybody's doing their part and following orders. So that's like
Sure.
part of his vibe.
Sure.
He's following orders.
Sure.
If you're going to play a jingle about somebody you hate, play it about Professor Walsh.
I'm going to play it about this dude telling Buffy what she can and cannot do. I am not here for it.
Because it's like, look, at the end of the day, yeah, he's part of a military operation. I get that he's just doing what he's like supposed to do. But she's the Slayer. And like, who do you think
And that's
that
the
you
thing.
are?
You all know I'm fucking here for that the patriarchy affects everyone and it's affecting
Yes.
Riley in this moment.
Yes.
I'm totally aware of that.
Mhm.
But like he just stepped into this and because of the fucking patriarchy, he thinks that he knows better.
This feels less like a patriarchal moment to me and more like a military v civilians. Like, we have an
Well,
operation. We're going to...
I think that definitely plays into it. I think there's a lot of levels to it. Because, like, this moment totally annoys me. I definitely also get where he's coming from.
Yeah.
But I love Buffy's reaction. No matter what. I
Yeah.
love the way she's like, okay.
I'm letting you come with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so badass.
But I see what you're saying. I will say that military mindset and patriarchal mindset are not too far removed from each other.
It is a
But
Venn diagram.
I feel like there's like more about like unit cohesion. And also I just want to say really quickly that, like, no offense intended. Thank you for your service. When people in military uniforms come to my shows, I cry. It is a lot. Thank you for
Yes,
your
of
service.
course, of course.
No disrespect.
No,
Carry on.
no, I don't think that anyone in here was disrespecting people in the military, for goodness sake. But
this is a fake imaginary demon military.
Right.
It's fine.
And they're just being dicks to Buffy. That's the problem.
And also
Exactly.
it's Riley. So.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. He's just like, my mom said I'm not allowed to take you. Like, he's just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the
Oh
odd
my
couple in the car.
God, Spike is like, how you feeling? And Giles is like snapping necks till everyone's dead.
Oh, there's this car chase, and like Giles rolls out of the. But of course, like they're both at risk with
God,
the
like
initiative.
Ethan even made Giles into like a big, like mean, nasty demon. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let myself get caught, and I'm gonna make him meaner and stronger.
And Oops, he won't
more
be
I
able
think
to wear
about
his
it.
shirt. His shirts just won't fit anymore.
Oh no, he might be able to bench press me.
And if he's anything like me, horns definitely work for him. Horns are a good look.
Oh goodness! So we're all at the motel together.
Oh my God.
Giles is fighting Buffy,
Mm-hmm.
and Riley is fighting Rayne.
But Giles is kind of like not fighting Buffy, right? He's
Yeah.
just kind of like deflecting and like not hitting.
Right.
Yeah.
Spike in the interim crashes Giles.
Dude, he is literally just driving at like a loading dock. He like looks over his shoulder and then just drive. That was there the whole time. It's the only thing he could have been pointing at. Like, what the fuck? I'm glad the car is dead. However, that was ridiculous.
You're glad the car
Well, I think it
Aw.
was fun. But listen, for everything there is a season. Turn. Giles, get a new car, please.
In case you're wondering what that clicking noise was, it was Jenny banging the wall behind her.
I also, lest we forget, the only power that a feral demon has being petrifying mucus.
Oh my God,
And how that's pointed out multiple times. I love the way that plays out. That is such a good bit of writing where Spike's like, oh yeah, you've got the mucus thing. It like, freezes people hard and instant, great in a fight. And then he's like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. And then when they open the book and they're like, oh, mucus. Like it's a real thing. I thought that was so great.
Totally. Oh God. So fucking Buffy stabs feral demon Giles and then knows that it's him because of his eyes.
Oh.
And like, listen, she says to him, like after when they're discussing it, she says, "You're the only one who can look that annoyed with me."
I know. I
And
thought that was great.
It is. And listen, you all, Kate, you included, have waited a long time for this, but we have a Giles jingle for you all.
Giles, hot dad. When you were younger, you were real bad. But now you're older, you've got glasses that help you watch over us. Thank you, Giles.
Well,
oh boy.
hopefully you enjoyed.
It's been too long.
Right? Like, Giles has worked real hard to get that jingle. We're sorry for dragging our feet, but at least it got to be in this episode.
Genius takes time.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yes. And then Giles, of course, has to get clothed again. But
does he?
Yeah. That's a really solid point.
Well, Ethan.
I mean, he does have to wear Ethan's clothes.
Jenny is like playing with one strand of her hair while thinking about Giles shirtless. And it's all
I was thinking about Giles in the shiny silk, whatever that is.
Pretty gay.
Isn't it kind of like snakeskin pattern?
Wait, it's black and white.
It's not.
It's very real.
It's, you know.
And then, of course, so Giles is wearing Ethan Rayne's silk shirt, and he's like, I'm just going to go watch them manhandle him.
I know. Oh, no.
Hot.
So good.
Oh, it's really
I just want to watch him struggle a little.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I just want to see him.
Ethan's like very self-aware. Like, it's the stay and gloat that gets me every time.
I know. Because, look, if with no interference, how did he expect this to play out? Like, that's what I'm so curious about. Because he left these clues. He left all of these this very obvious trail. And, like, he's not an idiot. I mean, he's look, I think he's very smart about doing very bad things.
Yeah.
And he leaves this trail. Did he expect Giles is just going to find him and then he was going to be like, oh, no. Oops.
What are you going to do about it?
Oh, I happen to speak Fjarl.
You know he does.
He definitely does.
Normally we do the sexual tension awards at the very end, and I know we have a little bit left, but I think we're all really ready for it right now.
Yeah.
Sexual tension award.
Wow! Here we are again at the sexiest part of the show.
I don't know. This one might have a competition.
Well, here we are again at the sort of like collection of all the sexiest peak moments all smushed together into one thing that you get to vote on for the greatest moment or moments of sexual tension in this episode. Here are your nominees. If you like, I don't know, cardboard, vanilla ice cream, Wonder Bread, whatever, you could vote for Buffy and Riley.
Wow, what a setup for failure you just
so
gave them.
Heterophobic.
Jeez, Jenny.
Listen, I feel like we put Buffy and Riley out there occasionally and people just don't want it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you like to float a rose with your best gal pal from Wicked Group, you could vote for Tara and Willow. If you like two bad boys.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Trysting in the cemetery, you could vote for Spike and Giles for that brief moment by the
brief but
mausoleum.
Hot.
Brief but hot.
Like a firework.
And then if you're just like if you're a reasonable goddamn person, you can vote for Ethan and Giles, please.
For a lifelong love affair with no comparison.
Truly. Decades.
Really.
You can join us, make your voice heard by casting your vote via our Twitter poll. We are at BufferingCast. The poll will be up like now, and will be up for a week, so please vote.
Yes, and you, of course, voted already for last week's episode, Doomed. And I'm going to tell you about the winners. The winners, of course.
I think when it comes to sexual tension awards, we're all winners.
All winners. You're right. In last place, or perhaps we want to call it fourth place, Giles in the map. A good showing, but 11% of you voted for them. They did not win. In third place, we have Xander and Spike's shiny bottom.
Nice.
Or in my poll, it was Spike's shiny peach emoji. Second place, with two basketballs, are Forrest and Riley, 28% of you.
Two basketballs.
And winning, much deserved, with 41% of your votes, Spike and kicking ass.
Sexual tension award.
Wow. Well, on the other side of sexy.
Wow. You know who else likes I'm sorry.
Yes, Jenny, please continue.
Well, Riley's all like, You're strong.
Yeah.
No one's giving you orders.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he kind of mucks it up by saying, give me another week and I'll take you down.
Yeah.
It's sweet that he's optimistic like that, but he's very wrong.
I feel like it's just he's like, oh, I let myself sort of be honest for a second. Whoops, gotta get my pride back. Gotta get my pride back.
Whoops.
Which is, I mean, I think again, just he's working through some stuff.
Yeah, and I right. This moment at first I was like, and then I was like, actually, like this is pretty reasonable and understandable moment of like joking the way you know how to joke and like not knowing
because you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, and he
with
has
vulnerability, with being like my super strong girlfriend. Maybe I'm into that.
Yeah. Maybe right. Riley has a lot to think about.
Right.
And Giles has a new phone. So
An ingenious speaking tube, I think you mean. Through which information could be transmitted at any time. If Buffy has anything to tell him, she could just call.
Right. And then, of course, Giles is like, Buffy, I don't want to interfere. And she's like, you have butt face. Giles is like, the fuck? But he's concerned about the initiative. He's concerned about her involvement with the initiative. And, like, fair point.
Rightly
She's
so.
like, I'm dating Riley, not the initiative. But, like, isn't she dating Professor Walsh a little bit?
She doesn't really know. I mean, like, Buffy hasn't had a ton of interaction with the initiative yet, right? Like, it's like she knows Riley. She knows that.
Well, because Walsh says she's working on getting her clearance.
Right,
so she hasn't actually seen it. She's just met Walsh and
yeah, she hasn't
Riley.
seen the amazing tinfoil pit with, like, 3 medical tables.
Speaking of.
Wow.
Oh, it's the worst set.
Oh,
it's so
bad.
And we go to it in the next scene.
Yeah.
But first, Professor Walsh, Giles does get to say at the very end, I do hate her quite a lot, which is nice.
Yeah. God.
That's very good.
Those two. And then there's this, like, we go to the initiative. We sort of see the parallel. Jenny?
Riley is like, she's the truest soul I've ever known.
And what did she say?
She's like a
Lord help me, college boys like spouting poetry or whatever.
Yeah. This is a very
Spare me college boys in love.
And this is kind of one of the first moments we kind of see Walsh and Riley having like a moment that's not about the initiative.
Well, because realistically, I mean, they're a gender reversed Buffy and Giles. Like, she's the watcher, she's the mentor, and then so much of this about is like, what if that is a bad relationship rather than a positive one, which is very interesting. But also,
and then she walks into a door. And it's 314. 314. Just like fucking Ethan Rayne said.
Yeah.
So he
knew.
He did know.
Yeah.
He knew something.
Mm-hmm.
What we won't learn, maybe ever. But we certainly don't learn it here.
You remember in Halloween when he left that note for Giles and then Giles looked at the camera? So good. The two of them are,
God.
Such a good long running. I feel like if I had been working on that show, that would be my thing where at the start of the season I was like, can I do an Ethan episode? Can I please do an Ethan episode? I will do anything. I just want to do an Ethan and Giles episode. And
I hope that someday one of our listeners does like a supercut of you talking about Ethan and Giles.
I have always liked them, but I think when I was younger, I didn't really understand because they have a very adult dynamic.
Totally.
And it was more like, I didn't really see it. And then when we started doing this, and I was like rewatching a lot of it with that lens, I was like, oh my God, yes, I was very influenced by this.
Right? And it's there. It's written in there. Just like
so
Faith
good.
and Buffy. Like it's not this is not just like us making it up. It's so there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, especially in this episode. And Jane Espenson loves a gay storyline. She puts them in everything.
Get that shit in there.
She's
amazing. I really hope that one day we get to talk to Jane.
I don't think that I could. I would probably. I feel the same way about Brenda Chapman, who originally wrote Brave, the movie, before it was taken away from her and given to some dudes.
Oh wow.
But it's just like
It's funny because when you were talking, I was like, oh, maybe Kate could interview Jane Espenson.
I would just be like, how do you? Everything that you've done is so beautiful. How did you write all the good ones? She's great, but it is a very good relationship. It's it's spanning so many seasons.
Yeah, truly. And, Ethan was taken away by the military, but I just feel like it's not the last we'll see of Ethan Rayne.
With a very few exceptions, you do not see Giles with a lot of female companionship. So I'm just saying.
It's true.
Holding out for a hero.
Well, I think we've done it.
I would say we have.
I think we did it. Kate, I think everyone at this point knows where to find you, but please tell them where to find you, what you're working on.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just finished working on the first season of High Guardian Spice for Crunchyroll, which is going to come out in 2019, which is pretty exciting. My first fully written just by me episode of Transformers Cyberverse was just out, which is very cool. I got to write some lady robot villains, which is very dreamy. So yeah, I got a bunch of cartoon stuff out now. I start to lose track of it. So you can find everything that I'm doing at kateleth.com, or I'm Kate Leth on Twitter. I'm Kate Leth on Instagram. I'm Kate Leth everywhere except Tumblr, where I'm still Kate or Die, because, nice. I'll hold that out forever. Yeah. I don't know other stuff that is coming up soon, so just keep an eye on that. I announce things as they come up. I'm done with conventions for the year. It's time to sleep.
Seriously,
and work.
A nap or two is in store.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So,
well, thank you for being with us.
Oh my God, anytime.
The Kate episode of the season is always...
It's always a highlight for me.
Well, I'm Jenny Owen Youngs. It can't be denied. And when I'm not watching Buffy and making this podcast, I'm usually writing and recording songs. You can learn more about me and hear some of those songs at jennyowenyoungs.com/buffering. And you can give me a shout on Twitter at Jenny Owen Youngs.
Great job.
Thank you.
I am Kristin Russo, and you can learn about me on my website, Kristin Nolene. I know, it's hard to spell, so let's just play the jingle for you this week.
Kristin with an I, Noeline.
You can check out my work with LGBTQ young people and their families, learn about the work that I do over at My Kid Is Gay over there, and also you can use that spelling to find me on Twitter and on Instagram.
Buffering the Vampire Slayer is on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BufferingCast, and you can email us at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com.
It's true, you can, and you can support the work that we do here in a few ways. You can, of course, go to our website, bufferingthevampireslayer.com, and you can click on Patreon and join our Patreon community. We have 4 different levels of giving. There's really fun things over there. Just go check it out. Trust us. You can also buy some merchandise from our store. Some of our pins, designed, of course, by the one, the only Kate Leth.
It's true.
Are in that store. We've got Smash the Demon Lizard Patriarchy. We have a new Buffy I guess it's not as new anymore, but we have a Buffy Forever t-shirt, Alewife. No, we don't have any Fishwife shirts. But
we do have Alewife.
We do have an Alewife shirt. And of course, you can always rate and review us over on iTunes.
Do all of it.
Yeah. And till next time.
No, I don't know everything, even though I've acted it. Held the torch, I know you did, lighting up the worst of it, searching through the long night that my life turned out to be. You stand by me. Spend your life protecting me, helped me find the best of me. Never knew I needed you, till I couldn't lean on you. We don't have the blood to show, but know you'll always be my family. My
Hi, I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life. I talked to acclaimed director and executive producer Roland Emmerich.
When I saw the first race, I was like, giddy.
Actor Ewan Rayne.
For an actor, that's a dream, although you do get a lot of sand in your sandals.
And so many more.
You helped summon those ghosts back onto that stage.
Every day when I went to set, I was giggling about what I saw.
I think it's going to be a breathtaking thing.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you know what lies within nothing?
No.
Do you know where it ends? Do you want to know?
Yes. Counterbalance, a high fantasy audio drama. Season 2, coming 15th of October 2023. Learn more on trilunas.com.